The new news that everybody's been humming about is the separation of Tina Knowles and Richard Lawson. It's been standing out as truly newsworthy all over, despite the fact that they attempted to stay quiet about it, yet you realize how tattle fans out like quickly and presently we have within Scoop. On what truly went down between these two lovebirds, so pull up a chair and prepare to hear the tea, cause Richard Lawson is going to spill everything, and it's certainly a tragic story we should discuss. Tina Knowles first. You presumably know her as the astonishing mother of the unrivaled Beyonce. She's a genuine supervisor woman too, with her own effective undertakings, yet one thing she's constantly clarified is that she needn't bother with a man to characterize her value or freedom, and you understand what that is. Thoroughly cool and engaging. Yet here's where things took a go. All through their relationship, Tina appeared to take that free position to an unheard of level, and she didn't keep down well. When it came to communicating it, she offended and disparaged Richard endlessly time again, which is a genuine bummer. Without a doubt, nobody likes to be dealt with like that, particularly by somebody they care about profoundly. Now, how about we dig into why Richard calls what is happening the miserable truth? You see, it's difficult when the individual you love and care for the most consistently puts you down, so Richard has chosen now is the right time to share his side of the story, to put any misinformation to rest on what truly occurred between them. Now you may be considering what precisely did Richard uncover. Well, you'll need to remain blocked to find out the bare essential subtleties conceivable. I imagine the kind of man I needed, petition God for the kind of man I need, and I got. Basically, that is he wonderful? By no means, except for you realize he has a ton of the characteristics. No, he has a ton of the characteristics that I love, and we're having a truly great time and am getting a charge out of life. Recall how we as a whole cheered when Tina found love again after that crazy thrill ride of her relationship with her ex Matthew, who incidentally turned out to be the dad of the music sovereign Beyonce. Well, lock in on the grounds that there's much more going on than me. The I and Tina's not generally so blameless as we naturally suspected. Now, before we jump into Richard and Tina's romantic tale, let me update you on Tina's past relationship with Matthew. Everything started back in the sweet 70s when Tina and Matthew ran into each other in Houston. Matthew was just out of school, furnished with a business degree, and Tina was hustling in deals. Flashes flew, and all of a sudden they said, "I do" in 1980. Sounds fantasy up until this point, right? A year after their wedding, the powerful couple invited the unparalleled Beyonce into the world. 5 years after the fact, a family developed with the expansion of Solange in 1986. Things were okay. And in 1990, Matthew helped to establish Fate's Kid, initially called Young Ladies Time in Houston, highlighting, in all honesty, Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Latavia Robertson, and LaToya Luckett. Predetermination's Kid turned into a relentless power with Beyonce, Rowland, and Michael Williams marking with Columbia Records in 1997, all while Matthew was in charge as their chief until 2011. However, following quite a while of marriage, reports twirled that Tina petitioned for legal separation because of Matthew's disloyalty with entertainer Alexandra White, who coincidentally had an adoration kid with him. And you probably won't have a clue about this yet. Following 1 year after she documented in 2009, it was dropped on the grounds that clearly she needs her dad back regardless of him impregnating 2 different ladies. Of yet the get-together was brief, and in 2011 the separation was concluded. Matthew burned through no time and found love again only 2 years after the fact. Yet here's where it gets truly delicious. Bits of gossip are flying that Tina could have had her own trysts as an afterthought. As per Beyonce's vocal mentor from some time ago, Tina was getting comfortable with, as a matter of fact, Richard Lawson well before the legal documents were even a thing, and evidently Tina conceded that Richard and Matthew were companions once upon a time. So isn't it charming that she conversed with her significant other's companion personally back when they initially met? Tina was as yet hitched to Matthew, and Richard was hitched to another entertainer named Denise Gordy. It appeared to be a far-fetched romantic tale, particularly since Tina was likewise his sister's dearest companion. Richard couldn't reject that he was struck by Tina's magnificence, yet she was hitched at that point. So he just respected her from far off. When Richard initially met Tina, he thought she was saved and didn't say a lot of. He even thought she was timid, yet as he got to realize her better, he understood it was really areas of strength for a strong individual. He depicted her as a genuine OG, like a hoodlum Tina, and Richard were close buddies for over 30 years, and think about what just after her separation. Tina goes completely gaga for him, a seriously quick new development, huh? In any case, they secured the bunch in an extravagant function in California on April 12, 2015. Along with Beyonce, Jay-Z, and afterward 3-year-old child Blue Ivy from that point forward, they've been indivisible. Here's a fascinating piece of random data. Richard's attendance at their wedding was very marvelous around 23 years before he had a near fiasco with death when he endured a plane accident. It was a U.S. Air Flight 405, and Richard's life was saved unexpectedly. A ticket chaperone remembered him and redesigned him to initially class, and that choice might have saved him from when the plane collided with Flushing Cove. Sadly, not every person was as fortunate, and numerous travelers and group unfortunately lost their lives. Richard had a premonition that something was off before the flight, and he focused on it as the plane took off. He saw it wasn't acquiring sufficient speed, and afterward, it began fall into pieces. It was an unnerving and extraordinary second for him, yet he figured out how to get by, loosening his safety belt and swimming to somewhere safe and secure. Being one of the 24 survivors resembled another opportunity at life for Richard. He realized he was lucky, particularly when he discovered that the individual who took the first seat in economy didn't make it. Was a resurrection for himself, and he values each second since that portentous day, and it seems as though he's attempting to carry on with his life again as he isolates from Tina and abandons every one of the difficulties he's gone through now. Despite the fact that there's been no authority affirmation, there are a few charming hints about why they could have truly isolated priorities straight. Tina rolled out a striking improvement on her Instagram bio. She dropped the Lawson part and returned to being called Tina Knowles, a seriously recognizable switch, wouldn't you say? And during Jay-Z's mom's wedding, Tina was available. Yet Richard was not in participation. That caused a commotion, without a doubt. Next up, Richard has been globetrotting, advancing his new film, Dark Fear. It's his greatest venture to date, and he's been voyaging all over, going to occasions like the Pith Celebration and Cannes Film Celebration to advance it. Yet here's the trick: Tina hasn't been close by during any of this advancement, and to stoke the fire, Richard isn't wearing his wedding band either. To wrap things up, there have been discussions breaks it. In their relationship, it resembles certain individuals have seen signs that things probably won't be all daylight and rainbows for the couple. During a television interview, Tina appeared to affect Richard's perspectives. It was an extreme second from certain perspectives. So during this meeting for the Dark Love series on OWN, Tina let the cat out of the bag about how Richard proposed and how she realized he was the one. Richard had a fascinating approach to proposing. He truly proceeded to ask Tina's children for their favor prior to asking about tying the knot. He thought it was urgent in light of the fact that Tina's life spins around her kids, and he realized that he got no opportunity except if they were cool with it. Fortunate for him, the children were absolutely ready and very amped up for the entire thing. Tina referenced that she appealed to God for a man like Richard, yet she likewise conceded he's flawed. When he examined her concerning it, she didn't withdraw and solidly said no, it was lie. She had a non-league second. You realize I got out whatever I said. Richard was completely shocked, and the camera even got his stunned articulation very close. Is he wonderful? By no means, except for you realize he has a ton of the characteristics. No, he has a ton of the characteristics that I love, and we're having a truly great time, and I'm appreciating life. A few fans were profoundly angry with Tina's words and the way in which she took care of the circumstance. They viewed it as tossing some serious shade at Richard.